Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to write your speech. There are two parts to writing your speech. Part one, reading or listening to the story, either on PebbleGo or on the book. And then part two is actually writing the speech. Your speech should be in your own words. You don't just want to copy exactly what it says in your book or on PebbleGo. Your speech should sound like you. You wouldn't want to write something like, Aretha Franklin was born in 1942, because you're supposed to be Aretha Franklin. Instead, you would write, I was born in 1942, like you're pretending to be that person. So you're going to talk as if you were that person. Let me show you an example with this book about the famous cartoonist Charles Schulz. I'm going to read this book first, and then I'm going to write my speech about Charles Schulz. Charles M. Schulz. Charles M. Schulz was born in 1922 in Minnesota. Charles was an only child. He was a good student. Drawing. Charles loved to draw. He drew a picture of his dog, Spike. The cartoon of Spike was printed in a newspaper in 1937. Charles graduated from high school in 1940. He drew cartoons and comic strips for fun. In 1943, he joined the Army. In the late 1940s, Charles was an art school teacher in Minnesota. He helped other people learn how to draw. There he is right there in the art school. Peanuts. Charles sold a comic strip in 1950. The publisher named it Peanuts. People read Peanuts in the newspaper. Peanuts was about a boy named Charlie Brown. Did you know this book was about the guy who made up Charlie Brown? It is. Charlie Brown had a dog named Snoopy. Peanuts became famous. Charles moved to California with his wife and 5 children in 1958. In 1965, a Peanuts cartoon was on TV for the first time. Awards. People around the world read Peanuts in newspapers. Charles won many awards for his work. He was given a Hollywood star in 1996. Remembering Charles. Charles died in 2000. Today, people still remember Charles and his Peanuts characters. Some people have parades to honor him. All right, so that's the book about Charles Schulz. So now that I've read it, I'm ready to write it. And I'm not going to look at the book while I'm writing it, because I don't want to just copy the book. I want to write my own speech. So here I go. I'm going to say, hi, my name is Charles Schulz. I was a very famous cartoonist. I was born in Minnesota. I loved to draw. I went to art school. My comic, Peanuts, was published in newspapers. It was very famous. My comic was made into TV shows. My comic was made into TV shows. And then the last part I will say, I died in the year 2000. I died in the year 2000. All right, so notice how I wrote that speech without checking the book. Now you can, if you forget something, if you're like, oh, where was he born? You can go back and you can look at the book and try to remember. But you're not just going to copy exactly what it says in the book. You don't want to sound like a book. You want to sound like you're Charles Schulz. So I wrote it my own way. And now that I've written it, I'm ready to try to memorize it, which is the next video. So once you have written your speech and you've got it ready to go, it's time to try to memorize your speech, which is in the next video. There is a link to that video down in the description below. So see you at video number 3.